The Perennial Pasture Systems, or PPS group, was formed in the Upper Wimmera region of Victoria during 2007 after a meeting instigated by Julie Andrew and Ewan Letts from the Department of Primary Industries. The meeting was conducted at Halls Gap, reacting to concerns about the lack of research and extension into productive pastures due to diminishing resources in the region. One of the facilitators of the meeting where PPS was formed, Julie Andrew, formerly of the Department of Primary Industries, gives us her view of the growth of PPS and how it has impacted on the region's producers.
I suppose all of the background behind the instigation of PPS, which didn't have a name at the time, was that there was the salinity management plan was running for the Wimmera. Staff at Department of Primary Industries were involved in the rollout of that plan, which involved the establishment of perennial pastures for recharge control. That's where that was, the background behind that. And we thought that there was an opportunity for local growers to be able to form a grower-to-grower support group to try and attract that interest from agribusiness and research with different bodies to be relevant to the local area. So we decided that we'd try it out by running a forum, which we did over at Halls Gap in early 2007, and we particularly targeted graziers who we knew were pretty keen, pretty proactive with their pastures, and looking to push their boundaries a little bit.
An executive committee was convened at the meeting which initiated the PPS group. Simon Brady from Jaluka became the group's first president, and PPS undertook to commence 3 paddock scale projects to trial new pasture varieties which had become available. Simon outlined the early days of PPS and the early planning which has led to the group to have over 100 farming enterprises as members.
Once we had the 3 paired paddock evaluation sites up and running, which was done initially by the 3 parties, was funded by ourselves. We also did a business plan, and we were lucky to then get funding through caring from our country through with the help of Project Platypus, and that really got the ball rolling for the group. We then were able to put money into the evaluation sites, and then come about employing a part-time project manager, and from then we just snowballed. The amount of stuff we got done very quickly, which is a credit to the early steering committee, which then became the permanent committee, and it was fantastic that the work those guys put in voluntarily.
Ben Green from Elmhurst, one of the instigators of the group, talks about the issues facing producers in the grazing industry in the Upper Wimmera.
Some of our lighter soils, we run back into quite steep hilly country with northern faces that can be quite abrasive, southern faces which can be quite rewarding, particularly late into the spring. Our perennial based pastures that tend to persist up here are deep rooted and tend to be around Phalaris varieties. One of the main issues with the research that was being done is a lot of the research was being done in the south and the southwest of Victoria, or Western District, which they have a more favourable season and a softer finish than us. We can tend to be quite hard in our finish, and hence some of that research wasn't really carrying into our areas.
In March 2009, PPS oversaw the establishment of the 3 PPS variety trial paddocks funded by the MLA Producer Demonstration Scheme. PPS were also successful in an application to the Ever Graze program, and a Phalaris and Lucerne trial site was established at Mooney's Gap near Ararat. Simon Brady talks about the effect that the trials had on the region's producers.
The main issue and the core of our business has been our long-term trials, and the huge success of the amount of information it's given and continuing to give our members is what I think myself and the committee believe to be the major focal point of the group and the success of the group. And I think the 2 big outcomes from these sites so far have been the ability to everyone to network within each other, and the more members we get, the more information we get out and talking farmers to farmers. And the other thing that I've noticed in 7 years we've been going is the massive amount of pasture that's now been sown, purely because it's given people the confidence and the skills and the management to take on the expensive, more harder to grow pastures on hard soils, and that's been a great benefit to the group.
By 2011, the group was increasing membership and had gained support to commence further research trial work. The management committee were becoming increasingly concerned that funding for the project manager position was drawing to a close and were uncertain about the future direction of the group. Current PPS President Paul Harrington talks about why a group such as PPS requires a project manager and how the Wimmera Catchment Management Authority became involved in funding the position.
Our Perennial Pasture Systems group has grown in members and numbers and projects and events. The committee recognises that the role of the project manager is essential and has applied to the Wimmera Catchment Management Authority for assistance in funding this position. PPS is very appreciative in the investment of Wimmera Catchment Management Authority. Its financial support has enabled the retention of our project manager, which has been pivotal to the success and enhancement and management of our group.
Wimmera Catchment Management Authority CEO David Brennan talks about the importance of supporting farmer and landcare groups in the region.
The Wimmera CMA has a strong working relationship with the Perennial Pasture Systems Group and enjoys watching the on-ground achievements that this group makes to the overall productivity and resilience of the Wimmera community. Well done, guys.
As well as presenting research and management information from its own trial and industry experts, the cooperation between PPS members in sharing ideas and experiences is an invaluable source of knowledge. PPS member Rod Veering tells us about the advantages of being part of the group.
Before PPS, I didn't go to field days about pastures because I didn't have the confidence or the knowledge to speak to leading farmers about pasture improvements.
In 2008, Rod was invited to host the PPS Ever Graze site.
So now, after 5 paddocks of perennial pastures that I've sown, I've got a lot more confidence to speak to these leading farmers about perennial pastures, and I even now have to do a bit of public speaking about my pastures, so I've gained a lot of knowledge and a lot more confidence. And also through PPS I've met a lot of very good farmers, very good people, made new friends, and we all help one another and learn from one another.
PPS has also facilitated pasture management courses, with the most recent being an Evergraze Whole Farm Grazing Strategies course, which 11 members completed in 2014. PPS members Sue Holden and Mel Nicholson talk about their involvement with the PPS Ever Graze course.
I found it really valuable in that within the first 2 sessions I came home and made changes. Just straight away started to alter mob sizes, grazing practices, pasture management, and as a consequence have been much more conscious, especially this last summer, on preserving pastures and making the most of them so that when we do get rain we'll be getting away with a bang and not waiting for the pasture to grow.
There is still much to learn about the pasture management in the difficult conditions in this part of Victoria, and PPS plans to continue to bring relevant information to its members and to assist them to improve productivity, manage the risks in pasture systems, and implement the improved environmental outcomes that come with perennial systems. Ken Hall and Mick Green talk about the future of PPS.
The organisation's success is no doubt based on a farmer-driven aim, and if it wasn't for the farmers themselves who know what they want rather than being told what they need,
that's right, Mark. Yep.
I think that it's got a long life.
And so definitely, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so long as we look after one another and understand and get the value from talking with one another, that's the essence of...
I think too, Mark, I think we're all on the same wavelength too. We get on so well at meetings, and we're all keen. I can't wait for our meetings to come each month, so I'm getting a lot of satisfaction out of what's happening. Really am.
So up there, the farmers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.